I love just sharing, and all right, this is tongue in cheek, but I love sharing to a Zoom full of wonderful dynamic business owners. I just couldn't resist that Zoom full. So we were talking a little bit earlier that I was kind of pondering and wondering what I could present, what I could share with you today that would be meaningful and relative to each one of you as we prepare for the economic recovery. And I was thinking back to the previous speakers at the NCET Biz Cafes, and I always like listening to a speaker that provides me with a tangible takeaway, right? Something, a takeaway that's practical, that there are steps that I can implement immediately that are relevant, that are useful. So I'm not always much for listening to general concepts, generic concepts for the sake of discussing concepts. I tend to be very, very pragmatic, kind of a get her done kind of gal. Now, personally, pragmatism is going to be very helpful as we actually gear up for our state and our nation's economic recovery. Our governor, as you all know, or most of you should know, has indicated that we're going to be relaxing some of our quarantine soon. We're going to be allowing businesses to open. So what does that economic recovery look like for you? Now, some of you may already be profitable. Some of you are essential. Some of you are non-essential. I consider you all essential, but that's not the technical definition right now. But many of you are offering different products, different services, servicing different customers, and your basic business may have just evolved and changed dramatically over the last 3 months, right? And I understand that, and yet I can still ask you, how are you specifically going to prepare for economic recovery? And what does that look like in your business? Now, sometimes we like to compare. How does someone else manage to survive, right? How did somebody else survive? Why did somebody close? What does it look like behind the scenes? How does someone manage their cash flows? How does one business land a contract that I wish I had? So we love interchanging ideas. We love seeing how somebody else does something differently, a little bit of voyeurism. We can always hear from others and see what's working for them and borrow from them. So we want to see and hear not just what's not working, right? Or we don't want to listen to only the negative and what's not working, but we want to see what is working. And so, oops, got a little head there. So when you're sharing the bird's eye view of my world, and I work with a lot of business clients have come out of the woodwork. Some of them are long-term clients, some of them are new clients, but I'm going to show you what they're doing. And some clients have accused me, I have a magic wand. I know that was part of my little video, but I actually do have a magic wand. And they accuse me of resolving issues, right? But it's not the magic wand that resolves the issues. It's seeing multiple businesses, seeing multiple strategies, seeing multiple issues over many, many years, and seeing how they've been shifting in the last few months. I've stayed in touch with all my clients, and I can see what's happening and what's changing quickly. And some of my clients want to use not only my magic wand, but they want me to tell them exactly what to do. So I'm going to share with you exactly what I share with them. So tell me what to do, okay? Some of them are really truly non-essential. They're either closed or they're pretending to be closed and work, and that's an issue on its own, but they're working from behind closed doors. Some of my clients haven't seen any changes in their operations, and I have clients that are growing by leaps and bounds. Now, regardless of which group you find yourself in, and yes, it's a dynamic time. Carol and I were just talking, it's a dynamic time of change in the business world. There are still those 7 key steps to business success. There are 7 key and classic steps to succeed in normal times. And those 7 steps are more relevant today and especially today as we're moving into this economic recovery. Now, some of what I'm sharing you may have heard before, and you might want to be thinking about it in a little different light. I'd like for you to ask you to think of your business as a system, like an ecosystem. And I want you to separate yourself from your business. Now, first time I heard of this topic, it was years and years ago, Mike Gerber. He was always talking about working on your business, not in your business. He's a very successful author. He'd written a couple of subsequent books since then. Always the focus of working on that business. Now, it's a time-tested system over the years. It's a formula per se, and it's created over a number of years of owning my own businesses and then consulting with other business owners. And I would encourage every business owner to walk through the 7 steps with me today, 7 exercises, and then keep your business thriving by fine-tuning your system as we prepare for that economic recovery. Number 1, your first step is going to be to make sure you have defined your niche and selected an appropriate business model. And you need to know what your niche is. Your market needs to know that you exist. It's very important to have very specific products, specific services, and you offer to a specific niche of people, usually an underserved market. You would want to know what's unique about your service or your product. You want to be able to itemize the unique benefits of what you have to offer, whether those are products or services, and then be able to articulate the message of your unique talent, your expertise, your products and services in your marketing efforts. So here are some questions to ask yourself. I have them up there on the slide. I'm assuming that everybody can see my slides, or I would have heard from the moderator of this group. But what kind of business are you in? Has that changed over the last few months? Are you resisting the change over the last few months? Should you embrace and serve new markets? Should you embrace new customers? Should you embrace new products and new services? On the other hand, I've seen some of my businesses that are pivoting so fast, almost daily, pivoting every week. They're pivoting so fast, looking and searching for something that they're spinning out of control. So be very careful when you're asking yourself is, what is your niche? What is your service? What is your product? Okay, what are you selling? Who is your business serving? What is that profile of your perfect client or customer? Now, that doesn't mean that's the only person you sell to. People always kind of say, oh, I sell to a broad range of people. I understand that. My services are available to a wide variety of businesses, little industries. But can you tell me who your perfect customer is? Who's going to be listening to that target market when you come, your marketing, when you come to present? So is that perfect customer actually changing the way that they buy and sell? A lot of shifting going on right now. And then are you able to paint me a picture of that perfect customer? Can you tell me exactly who that is? So here's some questions, and I'm going to give you some examples. People like those examples we talked about. So I have one client, and the doors are shut. Whether she's essential or non-essential is totally irrelevant, but her doors are shut. She's created optional delivery services, home delivery, pickup. So whether you think that she's essential or non-essential, she has been creative in figuring out optional ways to get her products to the same customers. Another client lost a huge portion of one sector of her business clients, and it was based on age. Now, and it wasn't even the senior group, the at-risk group, but she strengthened in the other sectors by reaching out on one-on-one basis. So she was able to shift away from the sector that she lost and tighten the relationships with her others. I work with a lot of agricultural producers. And so one of my clients has changed from hatching chicks, to selling fertilized eggs. And now she's focusing on duck eggs. So there was some quick pivoting going on there. I was at the feed store a few days ago. They are no longer selling chicks. they're selling eggs, hens, because you can't buy eggs. Well, I don't know that you can't buy eggs, but obviously there's some issues with eggs in grocery stores. I have mine available to me pretty fresh. Another client owns a tire store. And of course, since people are not traveling and our cars are not getting the wear and tear, the tires are not getting the use, they've added a smog check machine. So new services, new customers. So not all of the customers can buy tires from them, but most people who own a car need smog check services. One of my engineering clients had seen a huge demand in the residential market, and that's now tapered off, and he's shifted more heavily into the commercial building arena. Now, whether that we see that shifting back, we'll see where that leads in the next few months, right? I had a nonprofit who services seniors. They're a nonprofit. They receive grants, federal grants, state grants. So they have the same clients, they have the same people that they serve, but they have different services now, and then they have a different way of delivering those services. Other nonprofits, like the summer car shows in July is going to have to skip a year. So my question to them, is there a way to still reach their supporters, people that they would normally have coming to their community? How else could they be able to capture their attention? Is there a new venue that they could implement? How creative could they really get, right? So those are your questions when you're talking about your niche. You're talking about who your customer is, what it is that you're selling. Is it a product? Is it a service, right? And then the other aspect of the first step to recovery is to understand your business model. Now, if you're some of you may be about to go into business. Some of you have just recently closed your business, and for that, I really heartfully regret. And some of you are in business and doing okay, but I would suggest that you need to have a clear concept of what your business model is. How are you actually going to make that money? And do you know how to adjust those plans if your business model isn't working? So the primary consideration with the business model is it needs to provide income and it needs to provide growth potential. Now, of course, you need immediate income right now to be able to keep the lights on, pay the rent, unless your rent's been abated. But there are some immediacy of the expenses that you have, so you need that income, but you also should be able to plan for future growth. And when we're talking about business models, we're talking about like having a retail store or a multi-level program or a one-on-one consulting business or reaching hundreds of clients through online learning programs. So do you have only one product and service for only one type of client? Or do you have multiple revenue streams? Multiple revenue streams help you weather difficult times, just like now. And so that's the structure that we're looking for. So let's take a minute to look at some of the examples. And I have a slide up here now. You might have had a chance to read through them. But your product or service may be free. Your revenue comes from advertisers. That's real, it's not common, but it does happen enough that it's not odd. Do you sell a product and then sell service fees and warranties on top of that? Do you offer basic levels for free and then charge for the upgrades? It's real common. You have a product and add a profit on top. Do you sell to a consumer? Do you sell business to business? Are you selling retail? Are you selling wholesale? Is that shifting? Right? So tell me what that business model looks like. Is it going to be multiple of those? Do you have a monthly subscription? Do you sell one item and make a huge profit, but there's often a long wait time? Do you sell multiple items and you have a small profit? So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about the business model, is how are you going to actually make that money once you decide who your customers are and what it is, your services and your product that you're providing to them. So here are some other questions to ask yourself. Again, how profitable is your business? How profitable can it ever be? And I'm assuming that if you're not very profitable, you're living off your savings or working another job to feed the business. So again, that's not uncommon, and particularly in this area. I think it's probably real common with a lot of new business owners. So one of my clients always made a profit, and she was pretty proud of earning that profit every year until her significant other passed away. And then she quickly learned that the profit her business was providing her wasn't enough to live on and was never going to be enough to live on. So that's where we're talking about actually knowing what's going to happen in our business. How profitable are your various customers? And do you know? Do you have a way of actually itemizing that details? Do you have a way of measuring the amount of time, money, effort that you spend finding those customers and then keeping the customers? How diverse are those sources of income, and how are you putting too many eggs in one basket? Now, some business models are fun, some exciting, but they're not profitable. Other business models require huge investments, a long period of growth to achieve that profitability. So focus on selecting your niche, know your customer, know your products, know your services, and then choose that business model wisely. Right? It's imperative this time of the in our economic recovery right now. So number 2, your second step is to set some clear, definite goals with your business and create a business plan. And yeah, I know some of you just kind of choked on that, but you need to create a specific, achievable goals that will stretch your ability as a business owner. And I challenge you to have goals that you're really going to make you stretch and reach. And your challenging goal today may be just to survive. And no one on this call says that that's not a legitimate goal. They're your goals, but you need to have a goal. And having challenging goals that will have you reaching may encourage you to think outside that box. You may have to change your way of thinking. You may have to change your way of running your business that you've done. And I would ask that you don't just keep these goals on an imaginary list in your head. Write them down on a piece of paper, a book, a worksheet, a journal. Writing them down on paper has the effect of giving the goals a tangible presence in our world. The goals become more real, they're more reachable. And after you write down your goals on paper, don't just stick them in a desk drawer, file cabinet, or on the wherever they land. Keep them somewhere that you can see regularly during your workday. I just recently reacquainted with a friend of mine. We've been at the university together when I was teaching there. And I found out that the way that she works her goals is actually quite unique. And I love the way that she described it. But she actually, if there's a certain goal she's working towards, she'll write it on the paper. And as she reaches towards that goal, she's crossing it out and jotting down how much further she has left until she reaches that goal. So she can actually tick, 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 tick as the days progress. I'd never thought about doing it that way, and what a great way of doing it. It's a visual representation of reaching your goals on a daily basis. It keeps you honed in to where it is that you're moving towards. So as part of that process of establishing goals, you may not need, I said not, yeah, that's like N-O-T, you may not need to create a formal business plan at this time. And I can't believe that that actually just came out of my lips, right? Because I believe in having a very structured, having spreadsheets, having budgets, knowing where things are going. But we are moving so rapidly and so quickly that I've worked through a way to shorten my process and create an informal plan. I call it a profitability pyramid. It's basically an inverted funnel, right? The marketing funnel that everybody talks about. But to me, it's my visual roadmap for creating income and knowing exactly where my income will be coming throughout the year, and actually for the next few months. Okay. So there we go. Oops. I need to stay on that one for just a second. Sometimes my clients have come to me and say, oops. Well, sometimes they say oops too. But sometimes they just say, Marie, I just need to increase my revenues. Tell me how to increase my revenues. Just that's it. Just increase my revenues. Now, I know you know this, and it's just a reminder, but there are 3 ways to increase your revenues. And I really only know of 3 ways, bare bones. And most business owners that I work with, or especially agriculture producers, they've cut their costs to a bare minimum. There's just nowhere left to cut. So we need to increase those revenues, but how? So what does that look like? How do we do that? So be very clear in your company, what does that look like? The 3 ways. You increase the number of people you sell to, you find more customers. Okay, how are you going to find more customers, right? But you increase the number of people, number of customers you have. You increase the number of items or services or products that you sell, obviously to the same people, right? Maybe you can fulfill more needs, but you need to find or develop or create, or depending if you're in wholesale and retail, but you need to acquire and pass on more of different items and services, or you need to increase the price of those items and services that you sell, either to the same number of people, right, or additional people, or a combination of all 3. And this is where I really encourage you to be very clear, instead of just this kind of out of control and spinning, is, okay, am I going to go find more people today? How do I do that? Are you going to add additional services? Are you going to add additional products? Well, no, I can't. Yes, I can. What does that look like? Are you going to increase the price of the items and services that you sell? Or are you going to create a combination of all 3 takes obviously a very coordinated effort. But again, that needs to be very clear as you think through, take a deep breath and think through your business for this economic recovery. So whether you use a spreadsheet, whether you use mind mapping, whether you use business planning books, my profitability pyramid, or even the back of the napkin, right? Planning is absolutely crucial during this economic recovery. Be very clear where you're heading with that. Now, once you're clear on that, I would suggest that you find somebody to help you create a marketing action plan. I've used marketing people forever. I love marketing people. And they have helped me so much to understand that once you know what your business model is, what your niche is, how do you actually then reach out, and how do you reach the people that need to hear your message? So the business plan, or what my profitability pyramid, right, is my overall umbrella for the business. The marketing plan is more specific and very focused on how you're going to connect with those customers. How are you going to reach the ones you currently have? How are you going to reach the new ones? How are you going to build your brand? And how are you going to actually sell what you're selling? So one of the most important aspects of that marketing plan is a very disciplined, strategic focus. Each service or product in your business must lead to the next service or product in the plan. It's not a mishmash of products. It's not a mishmash of services you sell whenever the mood strikes. Reminds me of people laughing and joking about sticking spaghetti on the wall and hoping it sticks. Your marketing plan and schedule needs to be carefully thought out and set up on a timeline. Now I use, I just use a timeline, a calendar, and I start filling in my marketing plan. Who do I want to reach? How do I want to reach them? What's that going to look like? I'm very clear. And writing that good marketing plan, it doesn't have to be written, it can be visual, but creating that schedule takes some experience. And initially, you may be able to do 1 or 2 months. You may only be able to do 1 or 2 weeks right now, right? But as your business grows and we move into that economic recovery, you'll be able to expand your marketing strategy and then schedule for longer periods of time. I'm really keen into marketing people, okay? Of course, this couldn't go undiscussed, right? setting up our internal systems, including systems for customer service, accounting, HR, IT. So we're going to take just a minute to talk about the accounting system. As a business consultant, I often get calls when people are not having a good time with their accounting. A lot of them recently, not my current clients, but most business owners do not consider themselves to be accountants. They are not number crunchers. They don't want to be. They just want to focus on running their business and doing what they do best. Unfortunately, some of the business owners take too much of a hands-off approach to their books. They hand it all over to the accountant. They delegate too much authority, trusted employee maybe. In doing so, the owner loses sight of the overall financial health of the business. I would suggest to you that the business owner need to understand that accounting is more than just taxes. It's more than just boring number crunching stuff that we take care of at the end of the year. I don't always suggest that a business owner take care of their own accounting, but I'd like to suggest that you take responsibility of it, that you own it. Own your accounting. Now, a lot of business owners like the marketing, like me. It's fun, it's creative, it's sometimes glamorous. Well, not for me. And see, that's why I like the visual, right? So I can see faces, I can see people laughing and chuckling. So good marketing feeds off of smart accounting and sound operations. They are all interconnected. Profitability is about the intersection of marketing and operations with sales. All of these functions are intertwined. Now, I see business owners focus on the marketing, they focus on the operations, they love sales. You can see accounting and systems are the hub of your business. They are the glue that holds it together and creates that profitability. Your accounting and systems are going to drive your economic recovery. Now, I see behind the scenes a lot, and I see people with good accounting, and they are able to respond quickly to those disaster recovery funds. And then I see people that have come to me that haven't kept up with their accounting, and they're needing some immediate assistance, right? So accounting is about being in control of your business, right? It's in control of your money, control of your profitability. You're going to simply feel a reduction in stress. You're going to feel less anxiety. You're going to feel more secure as you can right now, but so much more confident and so much more empowered if you have a clear picture of where your business is headed and what you need to do to stay on target. It's a storytelling. Accounting is storytelling with numbers. So it's like we have storytelling with books, and we start with alphabet, and then we build words, and then we mix it with spaces, and then we have sentences, and then the sentences become paragraphs, and the paragraphs become pages, and the pages become chapters. That's all accounting is storytelling. It just happens to use digits instead of alphabet numbers. So people sometimes love the storytelling with words, and they forget the storytelling with the numbers. So a side note that I hesitate, let's bring it in. So one big issue where I see business owners shortchanging themselves and their businesses is keeping a shoebox that then they take to have their taxes done, tax purposes, right? So technically this is better than not keeping any records at all. You have something, you have some receipts. However, it's usually not the physical aspect of using a shoebox. It's having a shoebox mentality up here. And okay, some of you might be a little dismissive. When I say that and I share that with people, I sometimes get the response, oh, I'm just talking about a small startup, or I'm just talking about a new entrepreneur. Yeah, no, I've worked with manufacturers, I've worked with contractors, I've worked with retailers, I've worked with large revenue earners. Some of them just happen to have a shoebox mentality. They have a shoebox attitude. I have business clients that have kind of shrugged and said, well, I just do it the way that all of the other business owners do it. Well, no, actually you don't, right? And so then when these business owners realize that they can ask for information and they can get timely and accurate reports, timely and accurate storytelling, timely, something that they can understand and read, it's amazing how quickly they grow. It's so phenomenal to watch that they can have so much more than what they want. They can get some information, they can get it quickly, painlessly. And let me tell you, those business owners, when they learn that it's there at their fingertips, they become addicted to that information. They become addicted to the storytelling. So step 4 just goes without saying. It's kind of a get her done. If you have free time now, you may not have free time now, but you've got to pick one of these steps, right? Step 4 is a great one. Just get her done. Get it resolved now before we're ready to move into that economic recovery. Step 5, totally unrelated to accounting. But as a business owner, you need to be known in your community. You need to be respected as an expert in your field. Everything you can do to put your name out there is part of building your brand and your business. Start meeting people at networking mixers. Several of you showed up early. I loved it. I loved to have a chance. I met some new people. I reconnected with some I hadn't seen since we started quarantine. I love that networking. And of course, you can do that online. Maybe a little different than you're used to. It's okay. Start submitting articles. Start publishing and posting blogs online. Be a speaker. Talk to the local organizations about your area of expertise, why it should be important to them. Serve as a volunteer in your local community. Okay? All of this is a part of establishing presence for yourself and your company. One of the most important parts of promoting your business is to continually expand your database of contacts. In business, it's incredibly important to know your customers. You need to have good records and a clear understanding of who admires your business, who buys from you, and who loves your company so much that they will promote you to their friends and colleagues. And boy, you don't think I know that and appreciate that and send appreciative mementos? You betcha. So you really don't want a database full of names who have never, people who've never actually placed an order or bought from you. It's better to have a shorter list of fewer high quality customers and clients that purchase from you regularly. It's that 80-20 rule, right? All of us have heard that 20% of your clients will make 80% of your purchases. It's absolutely true. It does work that way. So step number 6. Manage your team, manage your time, both of them wisely, and charge what you're worth. Now, we're all given the same 24 hours in a day, no more, no less. Sometimes I feel like I have 28 hours in the day. I get so much accomplished. I've been given extra hours. Dave gets so much accomplished. He's been given extra hours every day too. The only difference in our success ultimately is what we do with the time that we're given. The best way to improve your business profitability is to relentlessly optimize the use of your time. Now, I'm not saying, and I always seem like I'm clarifying some of what I'll spit it out there and then I have to clarify, because I'm not saying that you need to become this hyper-focused management robot that only lives to work, right? We were watching a movie last night on robots. Sometimes we all need to kick back and rejuvenate and re-energize, right? I've ended up working with horses, and I ride, and I go to the barn and I ride at least a couple hours every day, right? I scurried back from there this afternoon and put a clean shirt and fluff the hair and such like that. But I actually manage my time extremely well so that I can protect my time off, right? And so learn to be careful about the amount of time that you spend and the quality of time you spend with your emails, your phone calls, your meetings, your disruptions. Now, I've tried to be very responsive to clients over the last several months, right? They're applying for economic disaster funds, they're applying for the PPP funds, they're not sure how to fill out the application, or they had questions about this, or the bank asked them additional questions. And I found that constant email and text messages were a little disruptive to me getting my work accomplished, right? So I had to be conscious of that, and I was able to develop a system that was able to still be responsive to them and yet allowed me to continue working, right? So that was a balancing act on my part of managing my time. So if you're going to be a wise manager of your time, you really need to learn some productivity skills. Put the first things first. What's the first thing you do every morning? Oh, I read Facebook, I read my emails, I fiddle away the first hour, I drink coffee the first hour. Well, then maybe changing that up. Maybe that's your step for this coming week, is learning to put first things first to move towards your goal. And for those of you who are struggling with this, there are tons of excellent and free resources available from a number of coaches, either online or the area we live. Kit, who happens to be on this call, she invited me to join her and some other ladies, where we focus on making sure that our LinkedIn profiles are accurate and current, and we have some decent tools on learning to use that. So again, that's my first thing on Tuesday morning, to work with them. So what's important, and what it is important to move your business forward, and how are you going to move into that economic recovery? I'll throw it out there. Another suggestion is hire good help. Expand your company now. You can find excellent employees for a fraction of what payroll was 2 years ago, a year ago, 2 months ago, right? Our payroll we have so many unemployed people in this area, and they are all good people and wanting to work. So I want to close this section, or comment on this section, that I would encourage you not to underestimate the amount that the customers are willing to still pay you. If you provide quality and you provide value and a service. So one of my, another client owns an interior design firm. They are swamped. They do a lot of kitchen remodels, right? They do a lot of housing remodels. They're swamped with residential and commercial buildings, commercial businesses, they're hiring new people. Their clients pay top dollar. It's one of the higher quality kitchen designers in Reno. And people still pay good quality, great value. They want something that's going to last. They want that quality, and they're willing to pay for it. So find your exclusive niche, find that underserved market, right? Become an expert in that niche, charge what you're worth. People really are willing to pay you for the help that they need. In addition to finding good employees and surrounding yourself with a supportive team and people who do support you, there's an old saying about choosing your friends wisely. In business, you need to choose your role models wisely. Find the people that are successful, find the people that you respect, look for people whose businesses you admire, but who you also admire for their values, their ethics, and their temperament. Hire a mentor, hire a consultant, a coach to lead you through the difficulties of running a business right now. This person should galvanize you to action and help you stay accountable for your goals. A good mentor will share with you ways to improve your business without looking down on you, right? Nobody wants to be looked down on, overwhelming you with too much information at one time. That's 7 steps, pick one, right? She or he will help you find your own path, and you can walk up that path confidently to find your own definition of success. Now, during this period of quarantine and our economic recovery, it's more important than ever to stay connected to supportive community and others who are cheering for your success. Reach out. Find out who is similarly minded Find those that you can relate to. Find those who can inspire you and encourage you. Connect to the right people, right? NCET, they're one of Nevada's business and support resource organizations that's top-notch. They're offering these webinars on a regular and consistent basis. SCORE, Service Corps Retired Executives, NSBDC, industry groups. What industry are you in? And what are those people doing to support their members at this time? Find the support and find the resources. Stay connected. Now today, I shared with you very practical insights, very practical advice that I found to be successful while working with other clients. You can use them starting immediately. You can improve. You can expand your business. You can survive. You can become ready right now for our economic recovery. It's coming soon. Now, remember, you need to refine your niche, make sure you know your business model, right? What's your product? What's your service? Who are you selling it to? Walk through that business planning, right? Regularly. I'm planning on a pretty consistent basis right now. Hone your marketing plan. Find somebody to reach out to support you with how do you connect to those customers you currently have? How are you going to connect to customers that you need to have? Set up, refine your internal systems. One of the big ones, of course, is accounting, your IT. Increase your involvement in the community. Hire, delegate your workload effectively, and model the correct people. Now, I'd like for you, I'll offer an invitation for you to reach out to me personally. You can send me a note, you can send me an email, a post on Facebook. Let me know, each one of you on this call, which one of these 7 steps you're going to implement starting tomorrow morning. Tomorrow is Wednesday, and tomorrow's Thursday, okay? Where are you going to find your support team? As you prepare for the economic recovery, I'm glad to help. Now, whether it's with a friendly reminder or a wave of my magic wand, I'm sure that we'll get her done. I really appreciate so much your time and for allowing me to share with you today. Let's see if we have a few minutes for any questions. Dave, are you there?
I am. Yes, we do have time for questions.
Great.
And just unmute yourself before you ask.
This is Kip Marie. I just like to say that this is so helpful. You know, I've had my business for a number of years now, but there's a couple things. Like, first of all, I love the magic wand, but 20% of my clients will purchase 80% of my services. So true, and that's a wonderful, gentle reminder to really re-engage, stay in touch with my favorite people that I've done business with for a number of years, but be visible. So I've pivoted a number of services, offering them pro bono so I can stay in contact with them and also serve, but at the same time stay visible and on their radar with them. So thank you, Marie.
You're more than welcome, but thank you for sharing that, Kit, because again, staying on their radar is so important. I went through that process and took every one of my clients and was texting or emailing or calling a couple of weeks in a row when our quarantine first happened, right?
Yeah,
So
really important.
Very important. Good. Thank you so much.